Hey, everybody, it's time to take your virtual presentations from blah to boom. And you can do this even without being a techie. Now, I know that a lot of you are just really afraid of being on video and you just don't want to have anything to do with this. But being able to present virtually is very important to your success, right? So, what I want to do today is just talk about some of the things that you can do very simple that you can do to make your presentations pop. Make sure that when you show up on camera, you are showing up in a way that people want to pay attention to you. And I'm not talking about having all the bells and the whistles and the music and the, poles popping up over here and, the background doing whatever and things. I'm not talking about all that. Let's start with the basics to get you going, to get you over the initial fear of one, being on camera, two, not thinking that you are going to look powerful enough that people want to pay attention to you, and to get past the idea that in order for you to show up powerfully virtually, that you have to be some type of techie. I've become a techie. I was not before I started on this entrepreneurial journey, but I still use very simple things in order to make sure that I show up powerfully when I'm on video. And I'll talk to you about, I'll also share with you the things that I use, the software and the things that I'm using to go live. And so today what we'll talk about is we'll talk about how to use framing, we'll talk about how to use lighting and how to use your voice and your body language to make sure that your presentations are engaging, that your virtual presentations are engaging. But before we jump into it, for those of you who don't know me, I am Kelly Charles Collins. I'm a retired employment law trial attorney, so I practiced law for over 2 decades. I'm a certified mediator and arbitrator, and I'm also a higher education educator. I was. And so I have spent my entire adult life communicating in high stakes situations. And one of the things that I learned how to do was to communicate through virtual medium. And I was doing this before Zoom became a thing in terms of the pandemic where everybody was using Zoom. I had already been using Zoom and communicating virtually. One of the things that is so important to me is to ensure that we use our voices. Our voices are superpower. And if you are a leader, if you are a speaker, a lot of speakers speak, but they don't like to be on video. I don't know about that. If you are a business owner who needs to communicate with your audience to attract clients or to elevate your thought leadership, you've got to use video. And whether it's long form, like I'm getting ready to do now, or it is a shorter form video, for example, like what I posted on my LinkedIn feed this morning. So more of a 90-second video. Whichever way, it's important that you understand how to use video and how to engage people with video. When I work with organizations, my goal, my mission is to make sure that you have the world-class skills to be able to resonate with your audience, to deliver your message powerfully, to be able to lead and communicate effectively with clarity, with confidence, with credibility. Summed up, to communicate with power and influence. Unless you're able to do that, you will not get your message across. And every day that we have a communication, whether that communication is in by word, so verbally, whether it's written, whether it's nonverbal, every single day that we have these communications, every single one of those are high stakes. And what does it mean? That there's some risk involved, right? We often don't think about it in that way. We think about high stakes communications just being those communications that, for example, if we were going to a job interview or we were having a performance feedback review, or we were going to present to our team or our stakeholders in our organization, those are the types of things that we think about as high stakes. But in actuality, every single communication Every single thing that we do is high stakes. This is high stakes, right? This is high stakes because I'm trying to get you to listen to me. And if you're not listening, if I can't get my message across, you know, that's not such a good thing. But today, I really, again, just wanted to talk to you about how do you do this virtually? And part of the reason that it's hard is because when you're speaking virtually, you're not talking to anybody. Well, you really are talking to people, but there's no one in front of you. And many people feed off of the energy of having other people. I had a coach once who this was not her thing doing virtually. So she would, if she was going to do something on video, she would ask people to come right on her Zoom so that she actually had people in the space. Well, we don't always have that opportunity. Right now, I don't have anybody to be in this space, but I do have a message that I need to get out there. I need to be visible and I need to be able to communicate to my audience to let you know what it is that I do and how I can support you, right? How do I support teams? How do I support leaders, executives, speakers, business owners? I help you and I support you by elevating your communication skills. And one of those communication skills is the ability to communicate through a virtual medium, right? So right now on this virtual medium, I'm using something called StreamYard. And StreamYard allows you to show up live in different places. So right now, I am live here on LinkedIn, but if you go to my YouTube channel, at the Kelly Charles Collins, I'm live over there too. And if I wanted to, I could have been live on my Facebook page. I could be going live on Instagram all at the same time. So virtual really gives you an opportunity to expand your audience, do the work once, and get it out to people everywhere. But in order to do that, you have to have, like, everything has to look good. People have to want to stop and watch you. We know that people don't have a lot of time these days, or people are just scrolling. So you have to do something to make them want to stop. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And at the end, if you want to go deeper, if you really want to work with me to help you to elevate your communication skills, I have an invitation for you to join me at my High Stakes Arena event in October in Orlando. You can see scrolling across the bottom. You can go check it out, highstakesarena.live. I'd love for you to be there. This is all about an immersive, interactive experience to elevate your communication skills, all of them, not just verbally, all the communication skills. So let's talk about what we are here today about your virtual presentations and going from blah to boom. So what we want to talk about first is the visual, the framing of your video. So if you can see right now, I'm actually standing, and we'll talk about that when I talk about using your voice and your body language. But I am standing at, I have a standing desk, and my camera, I have a webcam that is on top of my, what the heck is this called? The screen. I can't think of it right now. The screen. So it's on top of the screen and it's covering the actual where the camera hole would be, say, for example, on your laptop, right? So it is sitting on top of my I don't know why I can't think of the word right now, but don't worry about it. Anyway, y'all know what I'm talking about, this screen. So the camera is sitting on top of there. When I am on camera, the tendency that people have when you're on camera is that you want to look at yourself on camera. So right now, I'm looking at myself on camera. If I'm looking at myself on camera, when you're looking at me, then I'm not looking at you, right? I am looking down. So there's going to be no connection. So this is part of the framing. Part of the framing is that I have to be looking at you. So right now I'm looking directly into the camera. If I'm looking directly into the camera speaking to you, then you and I are having a conversation. You and I can have connection, right? We know whether it's virtual or in person, if somebody's not looking at you, they're looking down, they're looking away. You're like, are you talking to me? Like, who are you talking to? And there's no connection. So part of the framing is making sure that your camera is at eye level. So if I was to sit down, if I was to lower my desk, I would actually have to lower my camera, right? So the webcam gives you the ability to adjust the angle of your camera so that you can look directly into it, whether I'm standing like I am today or I am looking into the camera while I'm sitting. Okay. The other thing you want to think about is when you're framing yourself. So framing yourself inside of the camera, right? And making sure that you're in there. There's many ways that you can position your body. The easiest way is to just center yourself, right? So you see behind me, I have these two bookshelves. And so it's easiest for me when I am doing video to center myself because then you can see everything that's behind me. The things that I want you to see, my books, my books, my books, my cards, right? And there are other things about me that you can see. I love hearts. I love pink. You can see all of that, right? So you want to make sure that the framing around you is good. And talking about like your background, what you don't want is your background to be busy. I think my background is a little busy, but what it does, people are always commenting about this background and they love it, right? They love the pink, they love all the things. But so you want to make sure that the background pulls people in and it will stop them. So for example, if I'm on a Zoom with a bunch of people and I have my camera on, this background is going to catch people's attention. It's different from other people's background, right? Not everybody wants to do that. Sometimes you just want a plain background behind you. You want to also make sure that what is behind you is something that you want behind you, that you actually want people to be paying attention to the thing that's behind you. You don't want them to be distracted. They can see my books, but there's not a lot for them to be trying to figure out. There's, a couple of books and a cards and whatever, and then they're done, right? So it doesn't take away too much attention. Some people also like to use virtual backgrounds. Here's the thing about virtual backgrounds. You have to be, what you want to be able to do is have a green screen. So Zoom and all the other things, they give you the ability to use a virtual background. But if you don't have a green screen, what happens? Have you ever seen where people like half of their ear is missing or, they put up their hand and all of a sudden it disappears, all of those things? That means they're using a virtual screen without they're using a virtual background without a screen. No. Don't get nervous. I know I said you don't have to be a techie. You don't have to use a virtual background. But for those of you who do, I want to encourage you to get a green screen. You can get them anywhere. And they have ones that you can tie onto your chair. I actually have one that sits behind my chair. And it's pretty big. I could just pull it up and then drop it back down if I wanted to use it, right? So it's very simple. But if you want to use a virtual background and you want to be professional so that if you hold up a book or you're trying to show somebody something that you have in your hand, it's not disappearing and you're like, oh, wait, I don't know, wait. Right now, all of a sudden, it's no longer this powerful presentation that you have, right? So your background is part of the framing. Where you stand is part of the framing. Framing also, you want to make sure that you don't have too much space above your head. Have you ever seen those videos where somebody's like down here? So now I'm down here, I'm trying to speak to you and all you can see is like all this stuff above my head, or, they're down here and all you can see is their eyes or they're looking up into your nose. When I first started doing video, when I came into this entrepreneurial space, I could not figure out for the life of me. I could not figure out for the life of me how to get all of this framing. Like the camera was always up my nose or whatever. So the way that you do that is to make sure that you thirds, right? It's in thirds. So you have a little bit above your head. You think about you being in the center of the thirds, and then you have the lower, right? And that you're always looking directly into the camera. Now, if I'm standing directly in front of my camera, this is the framing. If I want to stand completely center, I just move over here. Now, some people you'll see when they do videos, because this is another way, is that they may be off to one side or the other because of how their room is set up and how their framing is. They may want to move their body over to one side. So you might want to be in the first third, or you want to be over here, right? But again, when you do that, you have to make sure that the camera follows you, that you move your camera so that you can look directly, right? So if I wanted to, let me see if I come over here. Let's see, I'm moving my camera a little bit, right? So if I wanted to be more on this side, it's hard for me. I can't really move my camera because my screen ends. So I wouldn't be able to move my camera all the way over there. So I like to put my camera more in the center, and I like to stay in the center. So just think about in your room, when you're doing your video, what's going to be best in terms of your type of framing. But what you want is to make sure that they can see your face, right? That the audience can see your face and that they can engage with you and that you're looking directly into that camera. And listen, when I'm doing virtual, sometimes I'll look down because maybe I want to look at my notes. So if I had some notes in front of me that I wanted to make sure, but I'll make sure to look back up because this is a conversation. So if you think about a virtual presentation as more of a conversation, just talking to somebody, just like you were having a conversation, you'll see, I'll laugh at myself. I'll laugh about things that I'm doing. I'll, tell you like what's happening in my mind. I just talk to you. Think about being on camera and having a virtual presentation as just a conversation. And you don't need all the bells and whistles for people to want to engage with you or to believe that you're engaging, right? So framing is definitely one of the first things that you want to do. Now, we want to talk about lighting. Lighting is huge. Have you ever scrolled through your feed, whether you're on LinkedIn, YouTube, anywhere, you're scrolling and you're like, that is really dark, or the video just looks like it is not done well. There's no lighting. It's dark. It looks grainy. It just looks like it's old. It looks like it comes from back in the day when we didn't have all of the technology that we had. Lighting is so important. So you're looking at me now. I have a light on in my office, but it's from the ceiling fan above me, right? The lighting that you're seeing, all of this light and brightness that you're seeing is coming from the two windows in my office. So my two windows, whenever I'm working during the day, they're always open because I get excellent light from those windows and I don't need additional lighting. Now I live in Florida. So there are times when, it's 3:00. So that means it's going to rain. And if I'm going to go live during that time, sometimes it gets dark. And so I'll use auxiliary lighting. I have actually box lights. And the reason I use box lights is because they're softer, right? So they're big rectangular lights. Hold, I'll show you. If I can get it around. So this is my box light. So you see it's pretty big. Let's see if I can step this way. Y'all getting show and tell today. So it's hard to show it in this frame, but that's what my box light looks like. So if I needed additional lighting, I would use my box light. So I have two of those and I position them and I make sure that one is actually behind the camera so that it actually pulls that light in as if the two windows were behind me and I was getting really good light. There's all types of other lights that you can use. When I first started, I used to use a ring light. I hate them. When I first started doing all these videos, I used to have a huge, in our other house, I used to have a huge painting behind me. And so it had the framing of the glass and you could see the ring light. And if you've ever seen people on video, they have their glasses on and you can see the ring light. I hate them. And there's so many other better lights that you can use that are just as inexpensive. So think about that. Either you want to make sure that you have great natural lighting, or you want to have some other type of lighting, but it's diffused, right? So that it's not it's not being so harsh on your face. And what you want to make sure is that it's even. So when you're looking at me now with the lighting, you can see that the lighting is even, but there are times because of how the sun is coming down, that there might be some darkness on one side. So I have to make sure that I have light. Just make sure that you look good and that people can see you. And again, don't get nervous that you have to, oh my gosh, Kelly, all this tech, listen, it's not that serious. And if you want what I use, just drop in the comments, whether you're watching this live or on replay, just drop tech and I will send you a list of the things that I use. Okay. So again, you want to make sure that the lighting is good. Here's when you know that somebody has kind of messed up their lighting. You ever watched and you know that there's light in the room, but there's a darkness on their face? That's because they're sitting with the window behind them. So if I was to turn my desk around and the windows were behind me, you would not get this clear picture. And if you see, when I move my hand inside in front of the camera and I add darkness, it changes, right? So you have to make sure, depending on what you're doing, the lighting will change. The way that the sun is coming in, all those things will change. But I don't get overly focused on those things because I know you can see me and I know that we're bright right now. So if it goes a little dark, I don't worry about that. And you shouldn't either. Just make sure that the lighting is good. Make sure that the lighting, you're facing the lighting, not the lighting behind you, right? So you want to make sure that you have very clear visual. Just think about what your reaction is when you're scrolling and you're seeing a video. What is it that pulls you in to that video, right? It's the lighting, it's maybe the background, it's the colors, it's the framing, it's all of those things. So you want to make sure for your own videos that it's the same thing. And again, this is whether you're doing this as a long form video, if you're doing this on your cell phone, right? If you're recording on your cell phone, if you're on Zoom, if you're on StreamYard like I am now, same thing, right? You want to make sure that your lighting is good. Third thing I want to talk about is using your voice and your body language. Oftentimes when I do these lives, I'm seated, right? If I'm doing something that I think is more relaxed, I'll sit down. Today I stood up because I want to show you just the difference in energy that you can get when you stand up. I also sit a lot when I'm doing training presentations for my clients. It just depends. I might sit, I might stand, just depending on the energy of the room, maybe how I'm feeling that day, or what I think is necessary to get the message across. But for those of you who are nervous about not being able to be energetic enough, right, to be able to pull people in and engage people, stand. When you stand, there's a different energy, there's a different power, there's a different presence that is infused into your delivery. So I have a standing desk. So I put it down, I put it up. Right now I'm standing. And so if I wanted to move, just like I was, I went over there to get my light, or if I wanted to show you the different things, that's easier to do and less clumsy if I'm standing as opposed to sitting. Also, when I'm standing, I can move, right? I can move my body. I can move in and move out. But I also do these things when I'm seated. One of the things that I often do when I'm speaking virtually is I'll lean into the camera. I'll turn my head, right? I will use my body to communicate to you what it is that I need you to get. So if I wanted you, I want you to really understand what I'm saying, right? I will lean into the camera and I might turn my head like, you get it? Right? If I want to bring you back, I might step back, right? So if I want to make something more expansive, I might step back. Or if I want to be able to show you with my hands that I'm doing something with my hands, I want to be able to show you my hands, I might do that. Because if I'm up close and I'm up here doing with my hands, you see how it gets into my face. But if I'm back here and I want to show you the power of like my hands, I want to show you the size of something or the breadth of something, right? Or I want to show you that I'm really excited. Being back here allows me to do that. If I'm seated, it impacts my ability to do that. So standing gives you the ability to engage with the audience more, right? And to be able to use your body language more to communicate. But if you're like Kelly, I ain't doing that. I am not standing up. You lucky you have me on video, then stay seated. But again, when you are seated, you can still use your body language, right? Because if I'm seated, I can still come in. I can still, right, use my body for emphasis. I could sit back and pause and allow you to take in what I just said. So you can still use it. You can still use your body. The other thing is to use your voice. Use the tone of your voice, the rate of your voice, right? So how fast you speak or how slow you speak. Now, when I get excited, I speak really fast and I have to pay attention to that. But I also know that if I need to make a point, if there's something that I really need you to understand, then I have to slow down my voice. I may also have to lower my voice. I have to pay attention to the pitch of my voice. And then if I really want to get your attention, I might raise the volume of my voice. Like, I really need you to understand this point right now. Like, really listen to me, right? Without yelling at you. But I can raise the volume of my voice. And I can use pauses. See how I just used that pause? Sometimes we're afraid to pause because we think, oh, people are going to think I forgot what I had to say. No. Pausing does a lot of things. Pausing can be used for effect. Pausing can be used for people to actually process the information, right? I did a post the other day and I was talking about when I was practicing law and we were picking a jury one day, and the one of the jurors said to us that he listens in Spanish. And what he meant was that when we were speaking to him in English, because Spanish was his second language, he would translate, his mind translated what we said into Spanish, then back to English so he could process it so that he could respond to us. So that was very important for us to understand so that we could communicate at a rate that allowed him to process. That's the same thing when you're virtual, right? Sometimes because we don't actually have the feedback of of an audience, of a live audience, of people actually interacting with us in the moment, we just keep going. Like, I got to get this out. You lucky I'm on here, and I'm just gonna talk. I got to get this out, and I do that sometimes, right? All right, and I have to remember, but all of the mechanics of speaking that we use when we are speaking in person apply when we're doing this virtually. And if you use those things, if you just use common everyday body language and the mechanics of speaking, all of the things that you would normally do, right? When you're telling a story to a friend, when you're trying to convince somebody to take some type of action, when you are, sharing your thought leadership in some arena, maybe in person, it's all the same. I promise you, it's all the same when you're on video. You just have to get to embrace. You just need to embrace that the camera are those people. That's it. The camera is your friend, right? So the camera doesn't bite. The camera allows you to communicate with tons of people, and streaming allows you to do that too. So I want you to really embrace this whole idea of doing video and doing virtual presentations. Don't be afraid when somebody says, "Oh, yeah, we'd love to have you come speak, but it's virtual." And you're like, "No, I'm an in-person speaker." No, you're virtual. You need to learn to you need to learn to be a virtual speaker also, because it's not going anywhere. It ain't. It's not going anywhere. People still want you to come and do virtual presentations. So it's important for you to learn these skills. And again, you do not have to be a techie to be powerful when you're presenting virtually. You absolutely do not. So let me tell you what I'm using so that you understand that there isn't a whole bunch of stuff that you need. So I have my laptop, right? And I'm using my Dell monitor. The monitor, that's the word that has been like out of my brain for the whole day. So my monitor. So I have a Dell monitor. I have two monitors on my desk, right? So most people, you already have that, or you at least have a laptop. So if you don't have external monitors, that's okay. You have your laptop. Our laptops do come with, most laptops come with an internal camera. Those cameras are not the best. I don't care how good your laptop is. Now, if you have your phone is your phone, and the camera that it comes with, it is what it is. You just got to use it, right? So I don't use the camera on my laptop. I have an external webcam, and mine is the Logitech. I think it's HD. This is an HD 1080p is the thing, but again, let me know and I'll tell you exactly which things I have, but it's a Logitech. And I love this one. I have another one. This one is the higher version, and the reason that I love this one is that it actually doesn't some of the cameras don't like white. So like my book over here, the first Logitech camera I had, you wouldn't be able to see this clearly for some reason. I'm not a tech wizard, so I don't know why, but for some reason it didn't like the white background of the book. So I got this one, so now it doesn't impact, and you can see the whites clearly. So I use a webcam. What I'm using right now to actually be live on LinkedIn and YouTube at the same time is a software called StreamYard. So StreamYard.com. That's what I'm using. And I have the plan where I could be on more platforms if I wanted to, but I'm now sticking to basically YouTube and LinkedIn. So again, it allows you to record once and be in multiple places. The other thing that I love about StreamYard is that if I wanted to, I could have recorded this, not live. I'm actually live. If you're watching this at 11:41 a.m. Eastern. If I wanted to just record this and not be live and worry about it, I could have recorded this on Zoom or recorded it using some other software. And then I can upload it to StreamYard, and StreamYard will push it out as if it's live, right? So you'll see that all the time. Sometimes people really are live and sometimes they're not live. Like today, I'm really live. So I like that about the StreamYard software. The other thing that you want is a really, really good mic. And my mic is not as close to me today as it usually is. So I hope everything's coming out clear. But the mic that I have is a Blue Yeti. So this is the mic that I use, a Blue Yeti. And you'll see that I have this filter in front of it. And the reason that I have the filter is for the sounds, right? The popping sounds. That's the reason that you put the filters. Sometimes you'll see people with their microphones and they'll have the big puffy things on top of their mic. It's the same thing. They're all for filters. They're like pop filters. So to get away the sounds of words. I don't like my mic to be in front of me. Like some people, you'll see them and they'll have the mic in front of their mouth. I just don't like it. That's just for me visually. You can do it. It's up to you. I just like to have my mic over here, and my Yeti mic picks up very well and comes across really clear without it being in my face. So you need to have a good mic. So Yeti is one. I use Yeti. There are Shure microphones. I think it's SHUR. There's all kinds of different microphones, but you want to make sure that it's actually very clear. The other thing that I love about my Yeti is that there's controls on the back so that if there's ambient noise around in the room, it doesn't pick up in the mic because of the setting that I have it on. Again, I'm not a techie, but these are just these are simple things that you need, and they're not really that expensive. So I have a mic, I have my webcam, I have my laptop, I have the streaming software, and I have a LinkedIn account and a YouTube account. That's it. And here I am being able to share my thought leadership with you, right? So I talk about anything related to elevating your communication skills. And I can do that through video. I could do it through what's called a long form video, right? So it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Right now we're at 36 minutes. And then I could also use it to do short form video. You can use Zoom. So that's another software that I have. You can use other software to do all kinds of things. But I told you that this was about taking your virtual presentation from blah to boom without being a techie. So without being a techie, let's just go back and summarize what we talked about. Without being a techie, you need your laptop or a camera, right? Or an iPhone or cell phone. I say iPhone because I have one. So a laptop or a cell phone, some way that you can use your camera, right? So again, this is for the non-techies. Everybody else who wants to use video cameras and all the stuff, I ain't talking to you. I'm talking to the people who just want to do it basic, right? So what do we need for our tech? What we need is a laptop or a phone that has camera, video recording capabilities. You want to make sure that if you're using your laptop and that you have an external webcam as opposed to using the webcam on the computer because it's not as clear. You want to make sure that you have a great mic. Again, using the mic from your laptop is not ideal. Cell phones are not so bad if it's close to you, but you'll often see people have a wireless mic clipped onto them. That's so that the sound comes across better. So you might think about those, and those are really inexpensive. You can get those on Amazon. You can get all this stuff on Amazon. But that's another way that you can amplify the sound, but you want to make sure that you do have a really good microphone. Then you want to have some type of software that allows you to stream. And StreamYard is the one that I use. There's tons of others, I think. So I love StreamYard. It's easy to me, and it allows you to be in multiple places at one time. It also allows for you to repurpose the content at different times. And that's a whole nother thing, how to repurpose. So let me stop for a second. My brain takes me. Let me finish my thought around that. So we want to make sure that we have streaming software like StreamYard so that you can go live in multiple places. You want to be able to do the work once and let it multiply and amplify across many different sources and platforms so that you're not recording this now, then okay, let me turn this off and let me go over here on Instagram. Okay, now let me stop doing that. Let me go over here on Facebook. No. And Instagram has made it now so that you can use software like StreamYard to actually live stream on Instagram. It wasn't easy before. It's really easy now. Okay, so that's the tech part of being able to take your virtual presentation from blah to boom. What are some of the logistics, right? We talked about three main things. One is the framing. What do you look like? Where are you standing? What's behind you? What's to the side of you? Right? How do you look like a picture frame? How do you look to the audience as they're scrolling through to make sure that it's a video they want to watch, or as they're watching, there's not too much that is distracting them away from the message? Because the message, the mission that you're on is what's important. Not all the things behind you, right? Not all the things floating around, not all the things scrolling around. It's the message. You want them to be tuned in so that they are on the same mission, right? That you can get your mission accomplished. Second, you want to make sure that you have great lighting. If it's too dark, if it's like fuzzy and grainy and it just looks bad, it just looks like you didn't take any time or effort, people are not going to watch. And lighting is free. Get in front of a good window. Right? So you don't have to pay for that. Get in front of a good window. Think about when you have the best light, what time you have the best light, and that's when you do your videos. Don't wait till it's 9 o'clock and it's dark outside and you don't have, extra lighting. Like I have box lights. And now all of a sudden you want to do a video and now it's dark and you're like, oh, it looks bad. And people didn't like it. Yeah, I can see it. I'm not looking in the dark. I'm 54. My eyes ain't that good. And then finally, you want to make sure that you use your voice effectively and that you use your body language to convey, right? You don't want to be standing here the whole time and this is what you talk like. And then, yeah, if you can help me. And then I'm looking down and, oh, yeah. And I'm like reading off the paper. So no, right. So we want to use our body. We want to use our voice effectively. Right? So these are the things that I want you to focus on, because if you just do those few things for me, then your virtual presentation will go from blah to boom, right? Everybody will want to see you. You'll want to see you. You will want to see you. You'll love watching you. Now, hey, that was good, right? But it gets even better. I am hosting a 3-day immersive interactive experience in Orlando in October called the High Stakes Arena. And if you think what you just got, those gems were good, oh, we're going to be dropping gems. I mean, all kinds of things, helping you to elevate your communication skills in all types of arenas, talking about your presentation skills, talking about how to structure your content, talking about really understanding who you are and the ability to brag. But you got to know what there is to brag about first. Talking about negotiation skills and how to leverage AI to elevate who you are, elevate your thought leadership. There's so much more. I mean, there's just going to be so much more. And it starts from the day you come in. So day one of the event is October 23rd. Day one, we're going to have a welcome reception, a networking reception, because networking is about communicating. And y'all have heard me say before, I don't love networking. It ain't my thing, but it's necessary, right? And so we're like from the very beginning, this entire thing is interactive and immersive. So that will be the networking session is still a part of you learning how to communicate effectively. And some of you might already be masterful at that. So you'll be able to help the other attendees really help, engage. Day one of High Stakes Arena is going to be a full day of content, but it's not just content. I don't like to be in conferences or workshops or whatever the heck you want to call it. The people just talking at you. I want to do something. And communication is a skill. Communication is an art. It's something that you have to practice. It's something that you have to do, right? So it's one thing. I just told you all what to do about, right? How to make your presentation go from blah to boom. But me telling you is not going to do anything for you. You have to do it. You have to take what I just told you and put it into practice. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing at the High Stakes Arena. What we're going to learn, you are then going to implement on the spot. And One of the things that we're going to use is childhood games to illustrate, to explain, to show, how we use our communication skills or how we often misuse our communication skills. So it's going to be all in. This is going to be fun. It's not going to be stuffy. It is going to be all in. Day 3, the morning session of day 3, again, more content, more implementation, more immersion. And then in the afternoon of day 3, for those of you who want to take this experience even to another level, I have the ability for you to join 8 people to join me for a mastermind, 3 to 4 hours, where we can talk about all the things that you've learned, or there's, you have other questions, you need support around anything related to your communication skills and how to present and deliver and all of the things. You'll have that opportunity to be with me in that space to be able to do that. And so when you go to highstakesarena.live, you'll see everything that I just talked about with regards to the event. This is an experience. I love experiences. I used to own a wedding and event planning business. And so I love all of the things about putting events together. So highstakesarena.live is where you can go to learn more. It's where you can go to register. When you register, there is going to be an opportunity. Once you purchase your original ticket, there will be an opportunity for you to upgrade to that mastermind session that I just mentioned in the afternoon. That's only available to 8 people, however. So you want to get in now. You want to grab your seat now because space is limited. Because we're going to be doing, because we're going to be working through the different types of skills, we can't have 10,000 people in the room. It's going to be a very small number of people who are in this room so that you get the opportunity to actually implement what you're learning, right? So space is actually limited. October 23rd through the 25th in Orlando. Tickets right now to get down here on the plane, not that bad. If you're close in proximity, you can drive. If you're in Miami, if you're anywhere in Florida, you can drive. If you're in Atlanta or surrounding states, you can drive. Come on down in October. Our weather is good. And this experience is going to be even better. So go to highstakesarena.live to grab your ticket. If you lead a team, this is also a great team skill building event. Send your team to come and learn communication skills. Communication is a non-negotiable. Effective communication is a non-negotiable. How to navigate high stakes communications is a non-negotiable. So send your team, bring your team, come with your team, come by yourself, come with a friend, just come. You have to be in the room. If you've ever thought about why you're not getting, that promotion, how come you didn't get on the board? Why didn't they give you that speaking engagement? How come your clients, they're not attracting people? You know you're brilliant, all of you, right? The people who I attract are brilliant. It's not that you can't communicate. It's not that you can't. It's that we need to teach you how to communicate intentionally and strategically. We need to help you to elevate and really understand the power and purpose of your communication. That's what this is about, right? It's not just about the mechanics. A lot of people teach you about the mechanics of speaking, taking out the ums and what do you do with your voice, right? Your tone, your rate, your pitch. But that's only part of it. You can perform, but what is it that you're saying? What are you talking about? What is the message that you're trying to convey? What is the mission that you're on? So that's part of what we're going to be doing, but really it's about merging the integration of the mechanics of speaking and the strategy of speaking. That is what's going to allow you to communicate with power and influence. So again, I invite you to join me October 23rd through the 25th in Orlando, Florida. Go to highstakesarena.live. Come by yourself, come with a friend, bring your team, come with your team. If you're going to bring your team, just DM me And then we can talk about, because we do have group rates. So DM me for your group rates. Or if you have a group of people who want to come, a bunch of girlfriends or guy friends or friends, don't matter. If you're coming as a group, let me know and then we can give you a group rate. So again, I hope this was helpful for you. I want to see you on video. It's really important for you to show up visually, especially if you're a speaker, so that people can hear you speak. And let me know what you thought about this video, whether you watched it live or you're watching team replay. Let me know your thoughts and let me know, what else do you want to learn? What else would you love me to come on and teach you about as it relates to elevating and improving your communication skills? Until next time, that's it for now. Go to highstakesarena.live and I'll see you in Orlando in October.